It is no secret that the cross is an important part of the Christian faith. It is also no secret that Jesus Christ rose from the dead. So then, why do many churches still portray Christ on the cross? We're going to take a short look at some ancient Christian wisdom regarding the cross as a sign of victory. Christianity is full of apparent paradoxes. The first shall be last. If you want to be the greatest, you must be the least. If you want to save your life, you must lose it. The cross is one of those paradoxes. Take up your cross and follow me. The world is upside down, and Jesus Christ is the right way up. So those things that he does that are true, seem strange to the outside world that has been messed up. But the work of Christ is to make all the world and all reality the right way up. And to those that are upside down, Christianity looks strange. We have talked in other episodes on this channel about the cross as a symbol, and we've introduced different varieties of the symbol of the cross. We have talked about making the sign of the cross, a Christian practice so ancient we've been doing it since before we put the Bible together. The cross is a very central part of the Christian faith. Of course, in our Sunday services, our hymns, and our theology, we make a very big deal about Jesus Christ having risen from the dead after his death on the cross. The phrase, Christ is risen, and the response of he is truly risen, is a very big part of Christian culture for centuries. So, if we're making such a big deal about the resurrection, some newcomers to the church, when they see an image of Christ on the cross, might ask, why is he still portrayed on the cross if he is risen? But this question is never asked about nativity sets. Christ grew up, why do we still portray him as a baby in a manger? This question is never asked about any other portrayal of Jesus in media. He has ascended into heaven, why do we still portray him in his earthly ministry? The matter of questioning the portrayal of Christ on the cross comes really from forgetting the biblical teaching of suffering. It comes from forgetting the manifold saints and martyrs of the Christian church. It comes from subconsciously equating suffering with shame, defeat, or even weakness. But when we look at the church's teaching, we learn very quickly that Christ cannot be shamed nor defeated, and he is most definitely not weak. The cross is the crossroads of history. It is the crux of all reality. As simply as we can say it, what the Orthodox Church believes is this: we do not see the crucifixion as a defeat. We do not see it as a loss. When we see Jesus Christ on the cross, what we are seeing is a moment of victory. We are seeing Jesus Christ defeating death. We don't just see Christ suffering for us, we see him winning a victory through that suffering. And the cross is a symbol of that victory and a weapon with which Christ accomplishes this victory. When we see the portrayal of Jesus Christ on the cross, we are seeing an image of the King of glory. In Orthodox imagery of the crucifixion, the scene is not a violent and bloody one. There is a peace about it, a serenity. It is a mournful image, but it is not a brutal image. It is regal and powerful. The day of crucifixion is for the Church a moment not far removed from us now. The Orthodox Church does not see the events of Christ's nativity, his transfiguration, his crucifixion, his resurrection, his ascension, as mere moments that happened centuries and centuries ago. We see them as present realities in which we participate. Paul makes reference to this in the book of Romans. He says that we are baptized into Jesus Christ and baptized into his death. We are buried with him and raised with him. The events of Scripture are both historical and present reality. And so the divine liturgy in church is truly a cosmic event that is very difficult to fully describe. I'm only touching on a subject that has encouraged scholars and saints to fill books with thought on the topic. If this is interesting to you, please continue to investigate the Orthodox Church. That the image of the cross has been transformed from a symbol of defeat to one of victory is strange to outsiders of the Christian faith. It always has been. It is why people ask the question of why is Christ still portrayed on the cross. It is unusual to see the cross as victory, and Paul even references this in his letter to the Corinthians. He says to them that the Christians preach Christ crucified, and that the message of the cross is seen as foolishness to those outside the faith, but to the Christians it is the power of God. St. John of Damascus says that it is through the cross that the power of the demons and the deceit of the devil were destroyed. St. Melito writes of Christ, "I am the one, says the Christ, I am the one that destroyed death and triumphed over the enemy." Later he writes, By the cross, death is destroyed, and by the cross, salvation shines. By the cross, the gates of hell are burst, and by the cross, the gates of paradise are opened. Saint Athanasius, the man who compiled the New Testament for us, says some powerful words that connect to why we portray Christ on the cross so proudly in our churches. He says that the death which they thought to inflict as a disgrace was actually a monument of victory against death itself. It is expected, perhaps, that seeing the image of Christ on the cross makes us think of something of defeat or something against the later resurrection, because that's how the people who crucified Christ thought it looked. That is how the Greeks who heard about the crucifixion from Paul thought it looked. This image of Christ on the cross looked like foolishness to the Greeks. Why are you portraying this, Christians? So even in the pages of the Bible, people thought that this image of Christ on the cross was a crazy thing to celebrate. In the Orthodox Church, we see the crucifixion of Christ and the power of this event prefigured centuries before in the Old Testament in the actions of Moses. When Moses stood above the people of Israel, he had his hands outstretched and held up by his friends Aaron and Hur. In Greek, their names are Aaron and Ur, and that is beginning with the letters Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. And so this image of the cross is prefigured way back in the days of Moses. This is an Old Testament icon of the crucifixion of Christ on the cross. On the 14th of September every year, the Church celebrates an event called the Exaltation of the Cross, and we have an ancient hymn that we still sing upon this day. O precious cross of the Lord, Moses prefigured you when he stretched out his arms to heaven and thus defeated the haughty Amalek. You are the pride of the faithful, the strength of those who struggle. You are the beauty of the apostles, the courage of the just, and salvation of all the saints. Therefore, at this sight of your elevation, the whole creation rejoices and exalts and glorifies Christ, whose goodness tied all things into one. The cross is a symbol of Christianity. It is a sign of victory. When we see Christ portrayed upon the cross, we do not see a moment of defeat. We do not see a moment of weakness. What we are seeing is a moment of power. We see a moment that was misunderstood by the people of that day, that has been misunderstood by people for centuries. We see the moment that the King of Glory obliterates death itself. Thank you for watching this episode once again. We are only introducing the tip of a cosmic iceberg of truth that there is to discover. The Orthodox understanding of salvation, of Christ's work on the cross, and everything that we believe cannot be fully explained by a man with a cup of tea on a couch on YouTube. So please do visit an Orthodox church to discover more. You can watch our episode on the resurrection icon for a little bit more on this topic. We are accompanying this episode with a cup of passion flower tea. The tea itself is medicinal. It has a calming effect. It doesn't taste brilliant on its own. I think we should have put some honey in it. It tastes a little bit like slightly sweet grass.